All right, then I'd like to call to order the Charter Review Commission. This is January the 20th, 2021. Item 1, call to order. I'd like for you to call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. Chairman Skip Connor,
Here.
Vice Chairman Mike Sadler,
Here.
Commissioner Dan Burris,
Here.
Commissioner Joanne Tilton,
Here.
Commissioner Sherry Booth.
Here.
All right.
You have a quorum.
Item 2 is there comments from the public on any item on the agenda. Do we have any comments, Kathy Jo, that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. We've not had any emails or anything come through or anything, any questions like that.
Okay. All right, then we'll go to item 3. But first of all, Mike, I want to thank you for filling in for me last time. I had COVID, and it's not as much fun as people talk about.
No, it's not.
I understand.
It's been 22 days. This is the first time I've been in my office in that amount of time, and I only got here at 2, and I'm leaving as soon as we over. So I just want to thank Mike for filling in. All right,
You're
so
very
let's
welcome.
go to
I
item
appreciate
3, consider approval of the January 6th minute meetings. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Okay.
Do we get a second?
Yes, Joanne seconded.
Okay, I have one question.
Okay. Okay.
And on the minutes, it's on page 2 under Article 4, Section 4A. I'm going to assume that it's okay to leave out all of that stuff because it's either redundant or not necessary because it's covered under the Texas Constitution provision, Article 11, Section 11. Is that?
Yes, sir, that's
Yes.
Art.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's just a bunch of more words that we don't need.
Correct.
All right. That's all I need to have. All in favor of said motion, approve the minutes, let me know by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right. So let's get right into it. Continue review articles from the January 6th meeting. I think we're starting on, was it page 18, elections?
Yes, sir.
And so let me, after reading the notes, let me understand. We're going to try to finish this today, so we'll have it ready by our first meeting in February, or is February we're going to try to finish? All right,
We're going to try to finish in February. We're going to get as far as we can today. Once we get past some of the meat today, a lot of the stuff at the end is just fluff. But we're getting into the meat today.
okay, all right. Let's start then. Elections, section 1.
Okay. Can we increase the size, please? There we go. And what we have here is, if you can see in the red where we talk about in the section 2, that's some of the recommended language that the council member had recommended that we use. Council member Harris used.
Does that fit better with our actual election cycle?
Yeah, I think it follows, from what I understand, it follows it. All right, in the odd numbered years, there will be elected 1 mayor, 1 council member from Ward A, and that's what we had, and 1 council member from Ward B. That's what we currently have. In even number years.
Because we're not doing anything even and odd anymore. Okay.
No, we're not doing that. Because I'm trying to figure out what he wants changed.
What he wants is in green. Green is what he wants. Red is what he wants stricken.
Yeah.
And the way that the new changes to the charter were, I think it was intended for there to be an election every other year or something like that, and it didn't quite work out that way.
No, that wasn't the intent.
Okay,
That was not the intent.
Okay.
The intent was to move people to the three-year terms.
right, okay,
There was not an intent to make it where there was an election every other year. That
okay,
was never discussed. What it was how do we move them to 3-year terms?
okay.
So I guess that's what he's trying to do to.
He's trying to make it more clear, I guess.
No, it doesn't make it clear to me. It confuses me.
It's just me too.
Or I thought that last time when we changed it to a 3-year or proposed it to change to a 3-year term,
We did.
that if everything stayed the same, they didn't have any special elections and no forfeitures, that about every 3rd year or every 3rd election would be skipped. We didn't have one. Is that still the case or is that not the case?
I don't know if that's the case. We gotta kind of think that out, because when I was looking at this, and I was even looking at it last night, it just confuses me.
Because this says we'll have election every year. 1 year just be for the mayor,
Right?
then 1 year be for a councilman from Ward A, Ward B, and at large. And then the next cycle would be council at Ward A and councilman Ward B, one from each.
Right.
Every year, we're gonna have an election.
Yeah.
Just at
And,
every
and,
third
and I
year,
think
it'll be
that's the way.
for the mayor.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go back to my clean version of this
Art,
chart.
this is, what is in red is not what's currently in the charter. So it may be good to go back to the clean version before.
Yeah, that's where I'm going now. I'm going to look at my clean. Can we put the clean version up on the screen? Because I'm getting ready to pull mine up.
Let me see if I can get it up there, Art.
It's gonna be section 2. Because the intent was just to move them to 3-year terms. There wasn't an intent to skip any of those.
For those wanting to see the original, it's on page 27 of the onboarding packet that was sent originally.
I'm gonna start sharing my screen with the original.
Yeah, because if you look at section 2, all it does is just change them to 3-year terms. That's all.
Yeah, Art, because what would happen if, something happened to the mayor and we had to go to the next election to have us,
You don't because with the 3-year terms, you got 11-11 kicks in, and you got to hold an election within 120 days. If they have more than a year on their term, if they have less than a year on their term, you can appoint.
Right, so we need to have it we need to simplify it, just.
But what, I mean, if you look at the regular language on it, I'm looking at it online, and it just says that beginning in 2019, like we saw, that the mayor started getting his term for 3-year term for 3 years. So, and then the council members, they were elected for 3 years. Now, this is going to be the first time that we're going to have the 3-year term.
Last year, May of last year.
Yes, it may have last year, but we didn't have it until now, because it was postponed. It was May of last year, and we didn't end up having it until November of last year. But that was when everything. And so I don't know if we start saying all that other stuff. I don't understand what he's trying to say.
The way,
Say the same thing we got right here, probably.
The way Becky explained it to me, and Becky said to tell you all, she's sorry she's not here today. She's out sick with strep throat, but she said that the way it is on the original, when it all plays out, that their original intention was to have an election where the mayor's election was included with one of the other two elections.
It will be, and it'll rotate between them. One time the mayor will run with one group, and then later on the mayor run with another group.
Okay, I think that's where the confusion comes in then. Because they're thinking that it changed so that there's a year where the mayor has to run by himself.
No, I don't think that's gonna be.
There'll be an election every year. We started in 2019, 20, and 2021. There's gonna be a mayor one time. The next time around will be a councilman from Ward A, Ward B, and at large. Then in 2021, it'll just be a councilman from Ward A and Ward B. Then in 2022, it's gonna be the mayor again.
Right, along with.
No,
Along with nobody. That's what
Nobody.
they're saying. It'll just be him.
the mayor's election will always be just for the mayor. Every 3 years, it'll be just the mayor, the way this thing reads.
Mhm.
Yeah, Skip, that does work, except when something happens and you have to go to the next election.
But you don't have to go to the next election. We can't go to the next election. The only way we go to the next election is if it's less than a year on his term. He automatically, the mayor, if the mayor's spot comes up empty, let's say the mayor passes, we have to hold an election within 120 days. If he has more than 12 months on his term, under 1111, we have to hold an election. We can't appoint. You can't appoint the mayor.
Okay, and will that person only go until that mayor's term was done, or will they pick up 3 years after that election?
They go to the end of the term, to the end of the mayor's term. If the mayor had 2 years left on his term, they get elected for that term, for the mayor's term.
Okay,
Yeah, and if it's a year, they just get elected for a year.
Yes. If it's less than a year, then the council can appoint somebody, and then that person gets to run for a full term.
same way with council members Ward A, Ward B?
Yes, everybody the same way. Once we went to 3 years, then anybody that's anytime there's a vacancy, we have to fill that vacancy within 120 days if they have more than 12 months on their time left.
So then I understand what Chris was asking is there's always gonna be an election. There's gonna be the mayor 1 year, then there's gonna be a council Ward A, Ward B, maybe even a council at large. But will the mayor ever go with, we were just talking about the mayor's election could go with.
Okay, all right then, let's just walk through it now.
Okay,
Okay, this coming year in 2021, who's running this year, Kathy Jones?
This year, it is Ward B is being fulfilled by the vacancy of Frank Carroll and
Ward A.
then Jennifer Stockton.
Okay, all right, so we got A and B both for full terms. A and B, just A and B running.
Yeah,
Yes,
Then next year, who's running next year in 2022?
that'll be
That's-
the mayor.
The mayor, is anybody running in A or B?
No,
No. So then the next year, who do we have? We have A and B running, right?
And
and council at large.
You have who? What do we have that next year?
A and B and council member at large.
Okay, A and B and council member at large. Then the following year after that, who do we have?
A and B.
A and B.
See, we don't have a year where there's no election. What we
No.
end up having is there's a year where the mayor just runs. Only the mayor
Yes.
runs.
Yes.
The mayor election will always be just the mayor.
Just the mayor, yes.
Why they didn't put that mayor and the councilman at large? I don't know.
Well, you know what we were doing then, Skip, remember? Well, you wouldn't know, but what we were doing at the time was we were trying to transition from the people who were 2-year terms. And then we also had term limits. So what they were doing, they were not starting it until some people who had the opportunity to run, like Jimmy Mendez, would have had the opportunity to serve 2 terms before his spot would then go to 3-year terms. That's what that, and Mike, you remember that, that's what that whole, we had a long discussion about that, is how to set it up so that they had an opportunity to get under the term limits, to get a chance to run their 2-year terms before the 3-year term would kick in. So I guess we could clean this up, and we could clean it up to make it clear. So I think we can do that. Put that.
Well, why don't we go section 2, regular elections, and use the same wording that was just on the screen?
We were told the last time when all this changed that I think every 3rd year, and I don't think they thought it wasn't thought out as far as we've run it today, that there would not be an election, it would be a money-saving vehicle as well.
No, I don't. I just recall. I recall that it was being that 1 year it would only be the mayor, and so that was what I didn't. I knew there was that discussion about not having an election, but I think they moved away from that discussion, Mike, when y'all were talking about that, and just said, well, then it went from not having where there was an election, having 1 year off, to just having where just only the mayor was going to run.
Okay.
Well, way Chris has it worded here is that's exactly what it says, but is this the wording we want to use, or should we copy it?
No, I think we can do that, but not that language. I don't like that class 1 and class 2, and
Yeah,
you know, somebody's second class, and
yeah.
let me play with that. Let me play with that language and bring that to you, so we can just because we can do better than that in the language. So.
Okay, well, do we need to vote on this change, or what you bring?
No, wait till I bring it, and then vote on that change,
All right,
because I
very
don't
good.
know what it's going to say yet.
All right. Section 3.
In the runoff, the only thing that I would say that if we're going to clean it up, that we just delete the language about where it says where such runoff should not be held earlier than the 20th. That needs to be in accordance with the law, and the law has changed on that. So.
Okay,
And that's. And so we just keep that language says such runoff shall comply with the Texas election code, and
Okay.
we just clean that up. Just clean that.
sounds good.
So who's going to clean it up? Art, are you going to
I
clean
will.
it up?
I am. When you're gonna get me a copy, they'll give me a copy in Word of this in Word, and I'll go through it and I'll red line. You guys will see the red line changes in the ordinance, in the charter.
So, Art, since now there's going to be an election in May,
Yes.
we're going to try to put all of these changes, you know, those $2 changes we talked about making for a $10,000 election. We're
Yeah.
going to put all these $2 changes in there this time and clean up the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's where we're headed and everybody understands that's what we're going to be doing. Okay. We're going to have an election anyway, might as well throw another item on the agenda.
Yep. Yeah, especially if the way, if we're doing it the way, the electronic way that they do now, I mean, it's not like we used to do with those big bed sheet ballots, or now you got 14 different paper ballots. Now you just click them down. So we can do that.
Okay, let's continue, please.
On the candidates, what the only issue had on that is just whether or not we want to say all the stuff about the sections of the election code instead of just saying in accordance with state law. I mean, so that just doesn't.
Leave it there, it looks legal.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it there. The only concern I have on section 5 is the language said all election officials shall be appointed by the mayor and approved by council. That's normally not the way that is done. Is that the election officials, sometimes we put them in the ordinance, but then with us contracting these elections out, sometimes the county, the election administrator appoints them, sometimes the county appoints them. So like in this last election, the county appointed those. So we were having to put in our ordinance that it be appointed in accordance with that agreement. So on that, I would recommend that we just strike B.
Sure, like having the control, like the city having the control.
But the problem is we don't have that control, and because they're going to do it. If we contract out that election, then they're going to do it. And also, if the council were to the mayor appoints Art Pertile as an election judge, we get 4 days out from the election. They have to change election judge. The council got to call a special meeting within the 72 hours in order to appoint Willie Johnson as an election official.
Okay.
And that election official stuff, that's all administrative.
You're right.
All right.
And that's not the only other thing like cleanup is where in section 6 where it says where election code and put period right there.
Strike that out, Riff.
Where it says in accordance with the Texas election code, because the legislature sometimes they move that in the different titles. So
Delete the last part.
yes, delete that. Now in section 7.
You might put on there that delete line as the Texas election code title moves.
Yeah.
May move or may change.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's pretty clear if we do it in accordance with the code, so we'll be fine.
All right.
Yeah, that's not, there's no recommended change on that.
Right.
And then, so if we move to this Article 8, initiative and referendum. Initiative, that's where the people have the power to initiate an ordinance. And that means they can petition to initiate to say, we want this ordinance to do this, to regulate parks Well, whatever, that's what they would do that. And what this does, it allows, our charter allows us to do that, except for any ordinance that deals with appropriating money or taxes or repealing ordinances that appropriate money or taxes. I didn't have any recommended changes in that. That's something that it's cities decide whether or not they want to grant that power or not. The section 2, that's kind of the reverse of that. That's where the cities have the right to repeal an ordinance that the council has passed. And as long as it doesn't deal like before, like with revenue bonds or anything like that, the council would have the right, if they follow these provisions, to repeal an ordinance. The citizens have the right to repeal an ordinance by an election. So I didn't, in those sections 1, 2, and 3, and I didn't have any issues, or even on 4, didn't have any issues with that. Then if we can go down
Some
to,
power to the citizens.
yes, it gives them the power to do that. Okay, and then we go down to section 5. I had one question on the council. It was one issue. And when we get down to the in that second paragraph, and when we get down here, it says that and if upon reconsideration such ordinance is not repealed, when they voted to repeal it shall be submitted to the voters at a regular special election to be held not more than 90 days after the date of the certification. We can't make that in most instances, because it used to, when we had 4 election days, we could do that. Now we only have 2 election days. We're not going to be able to comply with that. So what I would recommend is that we change that language, that it be held at the next regular or special election, instead of saying the one that's 90 days out.
You just have to stop. You don't have to change the whole thing.
I just have to just be held at the next, shall be submitted to the voters at, and then I'll put at the next regular or special election. You know, after the date, the certification of the council. That's it.
Go
So
back.
just take part of a sentence out.
Yeah, voters at a regular, he wants to put it right in there. Voters
Mhm.
at the next,
Yeah,
in red,
that the next regular or, and then delete.
and put period after election.
No, just delete that part. Delete, no, delete to the left, no, you're right, I'm looking at special election, then delete to be held 90 days after the date. You say the next special election. That's it, to go down to period.
You don't want to leave it in there about the certification of the council?
What? No, you would want to say at the next special, regular or special election.
Okay.
At the next regular or special, the next one's going to be the next one. So I would say that. And then special elections or initiated shall not be held more frequently than once every 6 months, and so that puts a limitation on how many you can have. So yeah, but that's what I would do there.
So in other words, you're not gonna, who was that talking, Mike or Dan? Who was that was just pointing something out?
That was Mike.
Mike. So Mike, you're saying instead of taking it all the way to the period at the end of council, you take it to the period just after 90 days, right?
Right.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, yes, you are correct. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
But we're not gonna be able to make 90 days.
No, I'm taking 90 days out.
Yes, sir.
but
Yeah.
we're
So
leaving
it
in
would-
after the
it would
date of the
read
certification.
regular special election after the date of the certification of the council. That's the only thing I had in there.
Well, I mean, that is not necessary, because what that does is that puts us right back trying to figure out when it is. That's, if you just put at the next election, because it says when it's already, when you look ahead of that, it says it's been certified. And then once it's been certified, then it moves to the next election. So to say after the date of certification, that's redundant. If you look up in the first sentence, first paragraph in the third sentence, that's where it talks about without amendment within 21 days after the date of certification. It says how you do it and when you do it. And so to say after the date of the certification, I think that confuses it.
Do we need to go back up there and change that where it says?
No, I think
60
if we leave that leaves, because in the first part, it says this is what you gotta do in order to get it certified. Once it's certified, then at the next regular or special council meeting, they need to hold the election. And it doesn't put any qualification, it doesn't matter whether it's after certification or whatever, but you gotta be certified in order for you to have the election anyway. But you just at the next election, you gotta have it.
Mike, what do you think?
What you think, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is an attorney.
No, but it still gotta make sense though. So it doesn't, if you got a charter and when you look at the charter, the attorney gotta tell you how it makes sense, then we gotta change some of the language. You gotta be able to look at it and say, okay, now I understand, this makes sense.
It's fine.
If it doesn't make sense, let's change it so it makes sense.
That other paragraph and being a little redundant. You are 100% correct. Yes, it makes sense.
And then when I bring it to you, it'll have these red lines. It'll have a clean copy and the red line, then you can lay them side by side. And if it doesn't make sense, then we can work on it then too. Okay, on section 6, that's when we talk about, it says what the ballot language has to say, which is that's clearly up to us. There's no recommended changes. That just kind of outlines how we have to do it when we do that.
If there's no date there, Art, does that mean it was in the city charter originally?
I didn't hear you.
If there's no date on here where it's been amended or changed or anything, that means it was that way at the beginning?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. If there, you will see if it was either in the original charter. If it was not in the original charter, you'll see below it'll have a the date when it was amended. The under when you look, one thing I want to bring your attention is section 7. Is that I'm not asking for any change, but it's something that we look at if an authorized initiative or referendum petition to be signed, if it's less than 10%, it requires 30% for it to be good. But if it's less than 10%, no, it's a minimum of 10%, but less than 30% of the qualified voters, and it's not adopted by the council, and then it requires you to submit it at the next general election. And then that language there, I would ask that we put up, now that I'm reading it, that says that we should put that period there. Should say at the next general election.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
And take the rest of it out?
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't matter whether it's after 60 days or whenever certification, just if it's gonna be submitted, then it just be submitted. What the reason why I ask you is that this provision, it seems to go against what the other provisions are saying. If you look up, it says an initiative and a referendum that it takes 30% of the qualified voters for you to have an election. And so, okay, so you need 30%, but then you come down here to section 7, and now it says you don't need 30%. To look at section 7, then let's go back up to like 4 and 5. I think it was like 4 and 5. No, go further. Yeah, power referendum. Look, it says right there, when you look at the initiative, and it says petition signed by qualified voters equal to number at least 30% of the qualified voters, but are no less than 300 petitioners. And then in a referendum, it says the same thing. Said that if you got that, you can force an election. I mean, this.
So should it be left at 30% instead of the?
No. I think I'm just trying to see. Hold on. No, here we go. This is where it is. This one, my fault. This is where it is. Quavanola, if you found with. No, that's not. My bad. That's the up or down on the ordinance. My fault. It's me. Those two languages are up and down on the ordinance. Go down to section 7. I'm sorry. Go down to section 7. Section 7 is if the ordinance was voted down or was referendum was then this is a petition. You can still force an election on that even if it was voted up or down. That's what the difference was. My fault. I'm sorry for confusing you on that, but it confused me a little bit. That under section 7, it allows you that if an initiative petition or referendum had 10% of the people, less than 30%, which would have been what would have caused it to go up or down. If it had 30% initiative, 30%, it passes. If it had 30% referendum, it fails. And what this language section 7 is saying is that if it didn't meet the 30% for either one of those, but it had 10% people on 10% of the voters pass it, that we have to set that item for an election. That's what that says.
But you would still drop to 60 days. Yeah,
because we're not going to be able to do that. But unless there's some reason why we wanted to get rid of that, the thing about it is it's other than this past year or so, it's hard for anybody to get like 30%. So you're not going to have very many referendums. You're not going to have very many initiatives, because it's rare that you get something by petition that have that much. So Well, but that's what happened. I'm moving to section 8. If I haven't confused you too much on that. That's the recall. That's what it takes, for instance, which we use the same numbers. If they decide they wanted to get rid of an elected council person, then they have to sign the petition. And you gotta have that at no less than 300 people, but at least 30% qualified voters, the same numbers. So that's been in the charter.
Martin, I don't see where it says 30% from Ward A to remove a councilman from Ward A or Ward B.
Yeah, that's what it does, because you're trying to remove that person. If you're moving Art Pertile and I'm in Ward A, you file that recall petition, you're recalling Art Pertile. So any member of the council, it is a person, not the position. You're recalling elected council member Art Pertile.
So if I live in Ward B and I don't like you and you're elected for Ward A, I can go out and get 10% or 30% of my friends to all from Ward B to get you out of office?
Yeah, because remember, you don't serve, a council person doesn't serve their ward, they serve the city.
Good point.
So that's both of the thing that once again on here is on section 8. I'd like to strike that the language that says after moving the salt shall resign within 5 days, the council shall order a recall election. No, that's fine. No, because we're all right. We're all right with that. All right with that. I don't know what my notes said. I don't know what that say that. Okay, we're fine with that one.
Hey, Mike, going back to your question, you gotta understand, you'd have to have 30% of all of the qualified voters, not just the voters in Ward A or Ward B. So that makes it even harder.
Yeah.
Well, if it can be Ward B as well as Ward A, it's gonna be a lot easier.
Yes, it could
Yes.
be.
Yes, you can.
When
Yes,
you
you can.
talk about recalling somebody,
Yeah, if you're recalling somebody, that people all across the city, or in order for you to even get that recall, to get that number, you're gonna be somebody that gets recalled, they're gonna come from all across the city. You won't get the numbers if you just do Ward A. You won't get those numbers to do that.
you may be elected from Ward A or Ward B, but you represent the whole city.
Yes.
I have a quick question, and that being, how do you establish what that 10% is?
They're the registered voters.
Okay, all right, so it comes from that roll.
Yes, sir. From the qualified voters. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And again, Dan, we're not talking about the number of people who voted. We're
No,
talking
I
about the
understand.
registered voters.
No, I understand.
We're talking about those that are on that list, that are on the voter roll.
Gotcha.
So they are
Okay.
registered.
I don't have any other comments or issues on the results of the recall or anything like that. Limitation on recall. You can only be they can't come at you twice within your one term of office. You can only be subjected during one term of office, and they can't file a recall against you when you just started. You can't be like Art and I get on there and I'm so crazy that you want to get rid of me in the first 3 months. You got to wait until 6 months to get rid of me, and that's under section 12. So
Let me
that's
back up and get clarification a little bit.
okay.
You gotta have 30% of the registered voters
Yeah.
in Katy.
Yes, sir.
not just qualified, registered.
Yeah, no, it's that's what you are. A qualified voter under the statute, election code, qualified voter means that person that has valid registration as of the date of the election. They are a qualified voter, and then they are qualified.
I didn't. Thank you for the clarification.
Yes. Because you could be a registered voter, but you haven't hit your 30-day mark. So you're registered, but you're not qualified.
If you're qualified, you're both.
Yes, if you qualified, you're both. If you qualified, you're both. You're registered and you met all the qualifications. So I had an instance where I had a person that was running for mayor for a council member in a city, and he's registered to vote. But when they looked, he hadn't resided there that 30 days, so he could not be seated. So he was a registered voter, but wasn't qualified.
Gotcha.
Other than that, just didn't have anything other than saying that the failure to call or anything like that. If we decide, as a council decides not to follow the recommendations of the council on doing that, then really it says that we can get the judge to remove them, but also there's a legal proceeding called a writ of mandamus that can force the council to act, but this gives secondary authority to either one of the county judges.
All right. Continue on.
All right, let me go. Finance under 9. Fiscal year. You guys don't want to make any changes to that. There's no. You can choose your fiscal year, and so there's no recommended changes to that. On section 2, hold
on. Wait a minute. Section 9 is recall election. Am I missing something?
No, we just talked about that.
Right, but you just said section 9. Tell me where you are, please.
Oh, I'm on
Article 9.
Article 9. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Article 9.
Thank you.
Article 9. Sorry about that. We're on Article 9.
Fiscal year is good, Art.
Okay. On the depository funds, for those of you that don't know, that we're required under state law for us to keep our money in certain banks, and those banks, they have to do what they have to put up what's called collateral, because as you all know that money inside a financial institution is only insured up to $250,000. So in order so that cities don't lose their money, what cities have to do, they have a depository bank, and in that bank, where we keep our money, that bank has to have a contract with another bank to cover our money, just in case our bank fails. And if we got more than that money, they still have to have another bank to insure, to make sure that if we get a collapse, that the city money is not lost by the failure of a bank. That's what it talks about, the depository. And so that's why cities always have what's called a depository bank. And so only thing this says is that it requires that all of our money be put in a depository bank. And that's it. But that you normally don't find this language in a charter, but it's okay, because I mean it's in the statute anyway. But that's the difference between, you would think, just a normal bank and a depository bank, is that the city money has collateral to back it up in case the bank goes under.
No changes.
No changes recommended. This particular section here has been been one that has created some issues. I mean, it allows us to bond, but also what you're going to see further on. Well, it requires us to have an election for some bonding, but it does allow us to bond, but not recommending any changes. And number five, not recommending any changes. One thing that's different though in B, number 5B is and if you look under appropriations 5B, well, cities set up what they call enterprise funds, where the money that's generated from certain parts of the city, like water and sewer, that money has to be turned back in there. A lot of cities do that by ordinance, and so they do that. We do ours by the charter. So that means there's no ifs, ands, or buts. All that money that's generated from the water and sewer system can only be used for water and sewer, and not transferred to the legal department or anywhere else.
Hey, Byron?
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that you had a lot to do with a lot of these changes on here, that's in here. You have any problems with anything in this finance department?
Nope.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, Art, I'm sorry.
That's no problem. Then we got limitations on how we borrow money, and that's by using COs, that certificate of obligations, and so that's none of that is out of the ordinary. Also, what we have is the right to do borrowing in anticipation of property taxes. We normally don't have problems like that. A lot of small cities, and probably when we were smaller, we used to have to do tax anticipation notes when we were waiting on the tax money to come in to pay our bills. And so what you did is you did tax anticipation notes where they'll let you borrow money till the tax money comes in October. But that's I'm not recommending any changes in that. Also, number 7, just not recommending any changes. What it allows us to do is to use any means that's available legally for us to do it. Now, section 8, and that's the one that has been kind of controversial, but not really. It says no bonds other than refunding bonds issued to, basically issued by the city shall be sold for less than par value. All bonds of the city having been issued or sold in accordance with the terms that we have. And so basically, what this does is it requires us, if we're going to do refunding bonds, which is not a big deal, but sometimes it creates some issues. Some cities have in their charters that you can't refund bonds, which creates problems. And so but what this does, this says we can refund bonds, but it must be at the original value of the bonds. We can't sell those bonds at a discount, which is what you shouldn't do anyway. That's you end up going under when you do that. But then on the sinking fund, if you go to 9, section 9, I'm not recommending any changes in that, but section 9. And what this requires us to make sure that we create a fund to cover our debt, and that we put it in a separate fund to do our debt, which we do that anyway, but this mandates it under the charter. Most financially you do that anyway, but this mandates that we do it. So there's not a.
Real quick, Sherry Booth had missed about the last 5 minutes, and I just wanted to let her know ever since that we have made no changes to finance, correct?
No changes.
Okay. under this, section 1, that's the tax department. I don't know if Abear, if you still wanna keep that department or not, because,
You know, right now, Art, I think it's one of those things where, you know, the county is collecting our taxes,
right,
but this always gives us the flexibility that if we wanted to have a department, we could.
but you can always create one. I mean, you don't have to do it under the charter. You can always create a department. That's why you may want to just look at it and just keep section 2. Because what section 2 does, it just says you have a power to tax, which you do anyway, but and then if you're gonna do any departments or whatever, you can still do that. But that's just a cleanup. And you see what we did in the last, back in 2017, you had all the stuff about taxes and all like that. We struck all that out at that point. So we could strike out everything but section 2, and it wouldn't cause any problems. Because, you know, section 3, how you assess property, that's determined by state law. So it's just whether or not you want to create, and then this mandate that you have to have a department, which we don't have.
They wouldn't.
What if you did item 1 and just says, there shall be established a Department of Taxation if necessary? And just so you can leave item 1 and item 2 in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we could.
we can do it, we can establish it if needed or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever y'all want to do on that.
So Art, when I designate the tax assessor for Fort Bend County as the person that collects my taxes,
Right.
I'm not setting that as the city's tax assessor collector?
They are, but you don't have but you're not in compliance with the charter. The charter requires that you create a department to do that. It says specifically, there shall be established a Department of Taxation to assess and collect those taxes. That's not the way we operate. We do it by, we contract with them to do those taxes. We contract that out.
So then I would say, let's clean it up, take it out, and keep note section 2, so we have the power to tax.
Yeah. And we just leave that in there. We don't really need that in there, but you don't want to take it out because people say, oh, you gave up your right to tax, and that ain't what we're doing. So yeah, I'd say we do take out 1 and 3 and leave 2 as number 1.
Do we want to say anything about that it is contracted out?
No, because we do it. I mean, we have the power to tax, and the way you assess them, you do that. It doesn't matter. You do that by statute, and so you don't necessarily need to mention it at all. If this section was not in there, it wouldn't change the way we operate at all. If this whole article wasn't in there, it wouldn't change us.
So what you're saying indirectly, Art, was that we're in violation of our own charter.
Not indirectly. Directly.
Not directly.
Directly, not indirectly, directly.
Okay. All right.
What's not directly?
All right.
I mean, should we say something here that because we have contracted it out, there's no longer need for a tax department?
I think you say that when we ask, why did we change this? We say that. But I don't think you put that in here. I think when somebody asks, why was this deleted? And then the explanation is that, we put it under here, is that we contracted out the tax assessor services.
All right, Kathy Jo, add that in there, please. All right. I just wanted to get something. So why did you delete this? Well, now we know why. Okay.
Yeah, now we know why.
All right.
So, and then, then I think we still keep 7. That doesn't, I mean, it just follows the statute, so that doesn't. 7 and 8.
I would like to step back and ask a question as it
Okay.
relates to what Skip's reference, that the city shall have the right to establish a tax department. In the event that we change this and moved from the contracted deal with the counties, would we have to come back in, or would there have to be any additional action taken by city council to establish a tax department?
No, because
That all
assessing,
falls under the power to tax?
it falls under the power to create departments that the mayor can do, or for
Gotcha.
them to do basic work. Because you want, for your tax assessor, you won't need a department to do that.
I got you.
They just have a person to assess those. So,
I got you.
okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
So we don't need item 7 either then, do we? We
7,
don't have an
7,
office of the
No.
city tax assessor. Cliff.
yeah, no, 7, don't need 7.
Because
8.
it's contracted out.
Yep. 8, you would just keep 8, even though the statute says about those tax liens. I wouldn't recommend taking it out just because it was in there. I mean, but if you, like you see under there, the tax code, chapter 32, that's going to determine those liens. I mean, we could clean it up because the statute regulates that. So it just depends. So if we're really cleaning this thing up, I would take 8 and then take 9 out, because scroll up and you see 9.
Who does the tax liens now? The counties?
No, we do them if it's something behind that on the tax, and then normally our tax collection folks would do that. I mean, we have people who do collect, they do it, and then they file the liens when it has been liens. And so that's what I would say we take out that one, because it's governed by the state law, but we leave 9. No, leave 9. I was using 9 as an example, but I would say we take out 8, but we leave like 9. But we need to, but the thing we got is Abear, what is that language called now that we do for that tax rate?
De minimis rate?
Yeah, all that stuff. I think you may need to talk about this 9. I don't know if we even need to leave 9 in there, because with the tax code, they got so many different names for, look at. This is why we shouldn't have this stuff in the charter, because when the statute changes, like here, this language here, shall adopt the rate for the city which shouldn't exceed the maximum effective tax rate. That's not what that's called anymore.
No, it's called the no new tax revenue.
Yeah, and so I mean I'd say we take that out.
9,
Oh, wait.
Or just change to say, the city shall not adapt the tax rate for the CDK which exceeds the tax rates provided by the Texas Property Tax Code or amendments thereto. And we're gonna leave it.
Because the thing about it is, if you put in the no new tax revenue, then I can't use the de minimis rate, which that's what I went and got passed by legislation. So
Right, but you know what we did though is whatever rate we used, there was no more effective tax rate.
right.
So what I like about this being in there, it's at least letting the citizens know that at some point in time, the city cannot exceed a maximum tax rate set by somebody else. It's telling them that, okay, we can't do this. We can't raise the tax to exceed the maximum.
Yeah,
I don't know, I think it,
yeah, I think so. I think, I agree with you on that, Skip. I think if we just make a little slight change, it'll say, if we just say, the city council shall not adopt a tax rate, ooh, Lord, for the city of Katy, which exceeds the maximum tax rate provided in the Texas Property Tax Code.
Yeah.
And then and I think it's the property tax code, and I think that's in the tax code. They changed that code and put the tax code in the Texas tax code. Yeah, and we do that, and then that limits us right there.
no, you're not deleting that on Texas tax code. Right. And
So-
I guess you need to change the last sign where it says Texas property tax code or just property tax code also.
Property tax, yeah, change that. It's Texas tax code. That's in that chapter 36. When that last sentence too, take out property. If you could, Kathy Jo, for me.
Yes, and didn't you say to take out the word effective in the first
Yes,
one?
ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I got it out.
Just put, yeah, maximum tax rates. Yeah, there you go.
I like that. So Art, when it comes down to the voters voting on this, how will will it just be how we do it, or will they see the before and after?
There'll be a sheet that says before and after, but on the proposition is gonna say real short language, amending sections 9 of the ordinance, and then I'll give some explanation of what it does, real short, and so that'd be it.
So every section that we touch, we have to have a vote on that?
Yes. Because you can only have one subject in there. If it, on this one, it depends. We may be able to combine this section, the subjects in here. We may be able to combine those, repealing that section 9, section 5, section whatever, to comply with state law regarding taxation. We may be able to do that, but you can only have one subject that you're voting on.
Okay.
Art, at the end of section 9, did you want to put a period after Texas property code and take out our amendments there too? Or did you want to leave that in?
You can leave that there. You can leave that.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right, and in 10, section 10, that's the sales tax not recommended. That's I mean, city sales tax go to general fund. That's not an issue. I didn't have any other issues other than to make sure that y'all aware that it mentions in here that the tax remissions, that they got to be definitely approved by the mayor and the council. And so we just got to make sure that when our tax collection folks that are doing stuff, that they make sure we bring it to council, but which a lot of times they don't do. So that's something we just need to be aware of.
Let me interrupt just a second. Kathy Jo?
Yes, sir.
Is Sherry still on?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
She's
Mike
just
had-
not on her, Dan and Sherry just aren't on their cameras, but they're there audibly.
Okay, I couldn't see it on there. I want to make sure we still had a quorum.
Yeah, yes, sir, we do. We
Okay.
do.
Sorry.
There.
Go ahead, Art. I'm sorry.
That's no problem. On number 12, I didn't have any recommendation on those. At this 13, I don't know why that's necessary. I don't know why we put, I know why, because we got that crazy language in here. I forgot about that. All right, go back up to 12, to section 12. Yeah, I need to look at my notes. I need to do some language on this tax suit language on this section 3, because it talks about that board of equalization. We hadn't had that in those in 30 years. And so we got to clean that up. Last time they had a board of equalization was back in 86. And so we gotta clean that up. And 13.
So Art, are you gonna submit the language to clean section 12 tax
Yes, ma'am.
suits?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So do we need 13 then?
Art,
Yes.
do we need 13, section
No.
13?
No, we do not.
Hey, everybody, it is 3:45. We normally finish at 4. Just wanted to let you know before we start another article.
Okay. What do you want to do, Chairman?
Do you have any changes in
We
front?
only got 2 articles to go. We should be able to get through that pretty quick next time.
Yeah.
If y'all want to quit or keep going.
Skip, how are you feeling?
Oh, hey, baby, I'm good.
Okay.
Oh,
I just got this lingering voice thing, and I cough about twice a day now instead of every second.
Art, I don't think you have much in front of us, do you?
No, just got the one change in Article 11. Change it from, it says, has reserved as a general law city, and we're a home rule city. I don't know how they put that in there. I don't know how I missed it over the 15,
What kind of
20,000.
city? We're what kind of city?
We are a home rule city,
Okay.
which means we have a charter. We determine how we're going to run. The other change in here is somewhere in here on this ordinance granting the franchise on section 3. I think it requires us to read that whole thing, or we may have changed it.
Oh, well, I think we changed that last time, Art.
Yeah, I know. That's what I gotta look at and see. So, I don't have it in my notes.
You talking about deleting section 3?
No,
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this section 3 want to delete where it says here, every ordinance granting, renewing, or extending it says, well, after 30 days, that we have to read that thing 3 times. So the caption just requires it. So I don't know. We changed it so you just have to read. Do y'all still want to read the caption 3 times? We used to have to read the whole ordinance. Now it says read the caption 3 times. Do we still want to treat those franchises differently than what we normally do, or not? That's the question.
I think you and I went through this last time. Instead of reading the whole thing, we just read the caption, right?
Yeah, but we got to do it 3 times.
Right.
So why?
Yeah, what's the purpose of that?
The purpose is that from years ago to make sure that different people across the city that didn't have a chance to get at the council meeting would have a chance to to attend a meeting on the issue. That was the whole purpose. Most home rule cities, they had 3 readings. That was what they put in their charter. When I first became city attorney in Waco, and way back, we changed it to 2 readings, and then it's still 2 readings. But most cities, they get away with that. They do away with that now.
Well, it's a transparency thing, I think.
Yeah, because people couldn't always make a meeting. So, and those franchises used to be really important. They're not that important now because the state has taken away most of our regulation of the utilities. So that's what I just didn't want to know if you want to do that, if you want to keep reading the caption 3 times or not.
So that would be 3 different council meetings?
Three different council meetings.
But how long is our caption? How long does it take to do the caption?
Caption, it doesn't take long, take less than a minute to do the caption.
Before, when we used to have to read the whole
You have to
thing,
read the whole ordinance. You have to read it. And you remember we used to sit there and somebody recorded it one time, remember?
Yeah.
We read it one time, then we played the recording back the next 2 times.
so I would just say it's always been 3. We now have it down to less than a minute for each council meeting. So we're making ourselves available. So if anybody has an issue, they can at least make one of the 3 meetings.
Yep. Okay. All right, then no recommendation then.
Well, should it say then, where we had that, the 3rd line down, say 3 readings of the caption of the
We do.
ordinance?
That's what we did that. We did that in 2017. We changed it from the ordinance to reading the caption. And
That's
then
not
when I was
what it says
asking,
out
did
there.
we want to change it to 1? To 1
Right
caption.
now, it says 3 readings of the ordinance.
No, it
No,
says
it's
3,
the-
it says the caption.
The caption. It's 3 readings of the caption. The
I agree.
caption of every ordinance granting and renewing has to be read.
Right, but you said they changed it in 2017 and it does not look to be changed to me.
Yes, look at the first sentence. In
The
2017.
second word.
Oh, the caption. Okay,
There's
thank
the
you.
caption. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
I know, but if you get down, right at the end of the 2nd line, it says within 5 days following each of the 3 readings of the ordinance. Why couldn't we just put in there caption of the ordinance?
We can do that.
I agree with Skip.
We can do that.
Because one place it says caption, another place it says reading the ordinance.
Yeah, we can do that. Change that.
For clarification.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I mean, if we're gonna have a $10,000 election, let's make that ballot long. Make it worth the time.
I think, other than that, it didn't have any more in 5 or and then, nor in 6, nothing in 6. We say that we have a right to regulate every franchise. We've been preempted in some, but we still keep that. There's nothing in 7, no recommended changes in 7. And there was none in 8.
Do we have to quit at 4?
No, it's up to you.
I mean, what do we got? A page and a half left?
Yeah.
Or 2 pages maybe?
And I don't think there's many, if any, Art. Did you have any?
For what? In
General provisions.
No. The only thing, the only thing that I may would, I would like to have a change in there. Is that under section 3? That we would change to say that the city can designate by ordinance one or more newspapers of general circulation. Because what has happened to us is that when we only have the one newspaper, and then we need something that has to be published for whatever, and they only publish once a week, and then we're in trouble. If we can designate two newspapers or more, and then we can publish if we have to.
In
we can-
light of,
Requiring us to do 2 or more?
No, that we can do. We can do one or more newspapers for as our official organ. See, what I'm requesting that we do that as opposed to we get the one paper, because like when the Katy Times went under, we had nowhere.
in light of social media now, should we change the language to include social media in there, or is that not necessary?
No, we can't.
For
We
publication.
can't do it. The newspaper lobby, we've been trying for the past 10 years to be able, for us to be able to post our notices and our stuff in electronic format, but the newspaper lobby beat us down every year.
Okay.
Every year. So our official newspaper, our official ads and bids, all of them have to be in our official newspaper.
But this assumes that Katy Times stays in business,
I
right?
know, but no, it doesn't, because what it allows us to do is if Katy Times is not in business, we can designate one or more. So we can say our official newspaper is the Katy Times and the Houston Chronicle. Houston Chronicle costs 8 times as much as the other paper, but you can get the Houston Chronicle in a day. You can post something in a day, or we could do the Katy Times and whatever that Brookshire paper is, or whatever. You can do both of them, and then you can use one, and if one goes under, you just switch to the other.
All right,
That's what I do in most of the cities. We try to use the paper, the Chronicle and the local paper. And then you use the local, that way, if you gotta have something published, and then you can publish it in the Chronicle, and then we make the people that are asking for it, we make them pay that extra cost.
sounds good.
The notice of claims provision, the statute, I need to change that, because I think under this 101, that's a 30-day claim period. But under section 4, notice of claims,
Art, in one of our previous meetings, you had said that you also wanted to change some wording in there to be the law that governs. And
yeah. Yeah. So let me look at section 4 on the claims, because that language is already in there, but let me give you some language, that recommended language under that one.
So you're suggesting changing the time for a notice of claim from 45 to 30 days?
Yes, because that's what the statute says.
Oh.
Under the Tort Claims Act, the Civil Rights and Remedies Code, section 101, and it's been that way for 40 years. I don't know how 45 got in there. I don't know how it slipped by, but it's been a 30-day claim period forever. But I'm gonna clean that language up, because I'm not sure. Five and 6, there was no recommended any change in that. The 7, I know no recommended changes in that. The thing I would ask that if we're going to do a complete cleanup, that we take out 9 and the 8 and 9, because that just talks about the brand new charter. Then other than that, I didn't have anything. You may want to check I'll go down to section 16. See if you still want to operate like that for the charter commission. If you want to have that report published in the official newspaper, or if you want to have the report just publicized. And that's under B, under 16B. It says where it's got to be published in the
What if you just said public
There.
and left out newspaper?
What's that?
What is it
What
you
if you
want to
just
change?
say published and not include newspaper?
No, I would say you could put be published, but you could put in the official newspaper and be published. But if you tie yourself to the official newspaper, then that's where it goes, and then you're stuck with that, with having to do it once a week deal.
You just want to put a
Well,
local
what I'm saying
newspaper?
Put newspaper, just put published.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You just be published.
Yes.
Published, okay.
Yeah, and then they can put it anywhere. Shall be, and then instead of saying published in the whatever, just say shall be published, and then they can decide how they're going to do
Period. After published, period.
it. Period.
No, not there.
No, right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Just put a period after the other published. Then delete how much, the whole rest of it? Or just,
No, just that. Be published.
Published is pretty arbitrary, don't y'all think? Because you could publish it in something that people don't have access to. Should we be more specific to make sure to protect the citizens that it's going to be published somewhere where they have access to see it? Do y'all agree with me or disagree?
Yeah, but if you do that, and you put it in this charter, and this charter lasts for the next 20 years, if you say it shall be published by email or published by this or that, and then that medium changes, that becomes the issue.
Well, I'm wondering if you can't have language that says something like published.
In a medium that's accessible to
Yes,
the citizens,
in a medium that's accessible to
the citizens of the city.
yes.
Yeah, we do that language, change that language to say that.
That's the definition of published, Art.
Yeah, but if you say, if it's published and then put in a medium that's accessible to the citizens, that means even if it goes to some digital stuff, you can still do it that way.
Right.
You couldn't just put it on the city's website?
Well, but 15 years from now, they may not be putting stuff on website. What we think is the newest thing out, publishing on website could be old by then.
Hear you.
Kathy Joe, I think it's accessible.
Yeah, I'm telling her somebody's making.
Okay, sorry. It sounded like acceptable to me too.
And I think number 17 is we take that out because that's when we did the original charter.
It's supposed to be citizens up in that change or residents?
Residents,
Okay.
I guess. Or you could put citizens. I don't know. I don't think it matters.
Okay.
We'll let them decide.
Taking out all of 17?
Yeah, because it's not of any use anymore. That's when you adopted the charter. If you're gonna clean it up, then you want to clean it up.
All right.
But remember this is that every little cleanup that we do, we don't have to adopt. But at least this time we'll have it. And so if we decide not to do all those cleanups, we'll have, where if we're gonna do it in the future, 4 or 5 years from now, we can see what the other cleanups were that we left in.
All right.
So Art, how do we submit the charter to the voters?
We don't submit charters to the voters anymore. We submit amendments to the charter.
Revisions.
We submit amendments to the charter. That language there was when we were adopting the charter and we submitted the whole charter for them to vote on. That's why that language says, pursuant to that old statute, determines that it is impracticable to segregate each subject or section of the charter. And so that they can vote yes or no on it. So we submitted the whole charter to be up or down on the whole charter. And then you see that other thing, not less than 30 days prior, not more than 40 days or 30 days prior, we had to give every registered voter, send it to every registered voter a copy of that charter. That language, we don't do that for an amendment.
So we don't want any language in there saying submission of amendments to the charter?
No, because that's governed by Chapter 9 of the local government code.
Do we want anything in the charter stating when it was originally enacted? Is the original date of the charter on this charter anywhere other than this here?
It may be in the first sentence. It may be there, but the original charter, we have a copy. City Secretary has a copy of the original charter, and each one of these amendments that be made are reflected on this charter. Let's say you adopt these changes, and it's gonna be a notation that section 17 was deleted.
It is on the cover page of the Home Rule Charter in its entirety each time it's been amended. It's
Okay.
on the cover page.
Correct.
With that 18, that's some legalese that I'll say we just leave in there. It says that each one of those sections stand alone. And that's it. What else you got there, Kathy Joe? That's it.
It's on your calendar. It's a thing. Yes, I believe that's it.
That's it. So what I can do for the next meeting, I can pull together those changes that are redlined there. And then, have them for that next meeting. So when is the next meeting?
February the 3rd.
February 3rd.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
give me 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can do it, Can't we, Katie? We can do that, can't we, Katie? Okay, we can do that.
Yeah.
We can get that done. We can get that done. We'll take that red line and we will do it, and then we'll have a copy where there'll be a clean copy and a red line copy. And then you'll have the chance to go through and take a look at it to make sure that we have in everything that you wanted. And if there's some stuff that y'all disagree upon, you can vote on those section by section.
Okay.
If that's okay with you, Mr. Chair.
That's fine. And we can have it to the council by the 8th or something.
Yep,
whatever.
yep. And we're gonna shoot. Okay, we're gonna try to get it to you by that Friday, at least that Friday, so you can have it a weekend to look at it. Cause yeah, we'll get it to you ahead of that time. Yeah, we'll do that. Anything else we can do for you, Mr. Chair?
I'm at your mercy right now.
No, I think that's it. We're gonna get this to you, red line copy, as soon as we can get it out, so you can have a chance to look at it. And then I guess at the next meeting, you can go through it, and then at that point, you can decide what the report's gonna be.
So you're gonna try to have that to us by January the 29th, that Friday?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so we can have a chance to review it and be prepared to vote on whatever we need to vote on February the 1st.
yes,
So we can present our proposal to the council.
yes, yes.
Anybody have opposed to that?
Sounds
Our
good.
Next meeting is February the 1st.
February the 3rd.
That would be the first Wednesday anyway.
Yeah. Yep, and we'll get that.
All right,
Thanks, everybody.
let's see. Wait a minute. We got an agenda to follow. We scheduled the next meeting, and I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Who's second?
Mike.
Sadler.
Second.
All right, all in favor of said motion and say aye.
Aye.
And you can close out. All opposed can stay on the line and just watch the black screen.